Control. Bravo team.
What's going on YouTube? Vexel here, and I'm back again for another talk video. Today I want to talk about something that is kind of a little bit more open-ended, and it's about the balancing of classes. Not just in PvP, but balancing of classes in general. I feel like there's a few things that could be tweaked a little bit more in the game, but we'll get to that in a second. Um, One thing I've noticed in Destiny is that the classes all feel very different. I've played all three classes. I've played all of them to level 30 or 32, whichever time period we talk about. But I've played all of them extensively. Most recent being Hunter, first being Warlock, and the middle ground being Titan. And one thing I've noticed is that the classes, though they play wildly different, which is good, they have very glaring issues, which is bad. Um, some of the issues being that, for example, warlocks are pretty broken overall in Destiny in terms of balancing, simply because of the fact that, warlocks have the highest jump in the game, so they can go out of map extremely easily in any type of PvE content, which, may or may not be planned, but I mean, being able to go out of the map just easily without minimal effort is pretty, it's not that great. And also, let's not even get started on the fact that Sun Singers break the game in half by being able to resurrect out of things that would normally end runs, like being able to resurrect in Crota fight and taking away presence of Crota, which had to be patched, being able to resurrect in Nightfalls, which I think there should not be resurrection in Nightfalls at all, even if you're a Sunsinger, but that's just me. Just being able to either self-res out of a situation or self-res into an ideal position, or just being able to jump out of map constantly. And that's not just the Warlock. I mean, the Titans also have glaring issues. The fact that, shoulder charge is a one-hit KO in PvP 100% of the time if you get hit by it, which should not be the case for an ability you can just add to something. Um, Things like the Hunter and their Blade Dancer, Blade Dancers and even gunslingers are straight dumb when it comes to PvP because of if you can't kill them in time, they're getting multi-kills almost immediately if they use their supers at the right time, which kind of sounds like, oh, anyone can do that with their super, but hunters can walk around with their super, which other than Sunsingers, no other class can do, which is advantageous because they can just carry their Fist of Panic potential or their Nova Bomb potential around with them, which is kind of overkill. But one of the balancing issues that I think needs to be addressed is that, things like the Sun Singer need to just be reworked to where, maybe it's not self-res, but maybe it's something else that increases survivability because self-resing, honestly, is something that I've seen as, it's become something that, no offense to Sun Singers, but as a general view, becomes something that you kind of rely upon, not in a bad way, but it is there. You know it's there. So if you die, you're not really too worried about it because you could just resurrect, which is not necessarily a good habit to have. And when it comes to like Titans, being able to fist a havoc every time they're getting shot at by anything, and being able to shoulder charge whatever else is shooting at them. kind of sucks because they're one-hitting whatever it is, and they can do it at near 0 frames, so you can't really stop them from doing it unless you get to jump on them, which kind of sucks. Hunters not only being able to carry their supers around, which is pretty dumb, but also being the only class that has weapon buffs tied into their class, which I don't really necessarily like. Like, all three classes should have some type of effect like that. Like, hunters get, if you don't know, the two abilities to increase reload speed and to increase stability when they get precision shots or precision kills, which is cool. You know, that's a very interesting. It makes Gunslinger a very interesting perk tree because it's one of those things that you can even affect your gun with your ability, which is pretty cool. But why do other classes not have this? You know, I mean, Titans have the Iron Harvest perk, which gives you heavy, or gives you orbs when you use a heavy weapon, but that's not really a buff as comparison to, like, oh, I have a low stability weapon, but because I have, Chain of Woe or whatever, I'm going to give it better stability like it has Zen Moment. I mean, why can't my Titan or why can't a Warlock have that? You know? So it's one of those things, like, that's one of those things that could be balanced out, is making it so that all the classes have some type of weapon perk bonus, and also have it to where the jumps are also balanced. One thing I noticed is that hunter jumps, while they're the quickest and while they're the most agile, they only jump. Or, in the case of Blade Dancer, can teleport for some reason. Why? Because Titans have a jetpack and can fly. It's very slow, but they can do it. And Warlocks, they fly super slow, but they can legit fly for like a while. I mean, why can the other two classes fly but the hunter cannot? I mean, it'd be simple enough to give them a quicker jetpack, or some type of something to still have them have the quickest jump, but also to where they can stay in the air for at least a little bit of time. Because if they're able to teleport, I mean, why can they not fly? Small things like that. And also, one thing that definitely needs to be reworked and rebalanced is the grenades. And not just the grenades for any specific class. Pretty much all the grenades in the class. From what I've noticed, each class only really has maybe one grenade that's good. Maybe. Sometimes two. I mean, you can use some of them in other situations, but for example, with a Defender Titan, how often do you see Defender Titans using Spike Grenade? I mean, Suppressor Grenade only really started being used because of the raid, because people found out that I could stop wizards from shooting, which is incredibly good, don't get me wrong. And in PvP, suppressing people is pretty good if you can get the grenade hit, but that's few and far between when you could just use magnetic grenade and kill whatever you're throwing it at. Warlocks, Voidwalker, especially, like, other than Axiom Bolt, Vortex Grenade's okay, but in terms of crowd clearing, crowd, why is crowd and clearing so hard to say? In terms of crowd clearing potential, they don't really have grenades that can really reflect that. I mean, scatter grenade's okay, but it doesn't scatter in a big enough radius to really do that. And Vortex Grenade doesn't really clear out a crowd. They just kind of avoid it because they're programmed to. Axiom Bolt is the best at clearing crowds because of Bloom, but that's only because it has an ability that makes it better to do that. Things like that. Like, there's a bunch of balancing issues that need to be reworked, and they can be worked pretty easily. And they're on the right track, but it's gonna take some time for classes to be, super tight and, functioning in a way that makes them a lot more balanced. But what do you guys think? I mean, should classes, change and be reworked, or should they stay the same? I mean, do you think that there's specific problems with the classes? And if there is, and I haven't mentioned one, what are they? Say them down in the comments, because it is very interesting to see, what is good and what is bad about a class. I mean, there is certainly good things about each class. I mean, all of them are fun to play, all of them have their ups and downs, but, should that be changed a little bit more to where there's more good than bad? Because at this point, I feel like there's a little bit more bad than good, but not by much, but it's there, and it is kind of a thing. But let me know down in the comments. Uh, I will probably be posting more talk videos in the future. Just have to think of topics. But for now, I would like to thank you guys for watching my video, and I'll catch you guys later.